Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Crochet Cakes podcast, a podcast about crochet, knitting, and today even some sewing. So basically any crafty thing that catches my fancy, and there have been other crafty things that caught my fancy this week, so stay tuned and I'll be sharing all of that with you in a couple minutes. So I sat down to record, and today is Sunday, June 29th, I think, and I've just suddenly realized that I need to write a blog for end of June. Yeah. Anyway, I really hope you can't hear the lawnmower because I've been trying to wait for a decent time of day that I can record where I've got good lighting, the house is quiet, but you can't really keep your neighbors quiet, so lots of people mowing their lawn today, which is just the tiniest bit annoying when you're trying to record a podcast, but we're gonna try and get through it together, guys, so just please bear with me. This week, I have lots of stuff to share with you, but first and foremost, how are you? I hope you've been well. It's been 2 weeks since I last talked to you guys, so it's been a bit of a while. It's felt like longer than 2 weeks, which is weird. But I have recorded some vloggy bits for you guys that you saw at the beginning. I just tried to share the most interesting parts of my day because frankly, I don't do much. I sit, I crochet, I vlog, and I've recently decided that I also need to start looking for other jobs and applying for other jobs because if you're new to this podcast, I was working until last week. I got laid off twice during this COVID-19 situation, which if you live in Florida, it's getting bad. It's getting bad. Florida has become a hotspot for coronavirus, so we've been trying to not really go out. In fact, I put off grocery shopping. I've just been trying to use everything that's in my pantry to just, you know, deal with not going to the grocery store, and I've tried to limit my outings to once a week where I go to the chiropractor because before when the quarantine first started and when I first got laid off, I decided not to go to the chiropractor because, you know, trying to keep safe and avoid going outside and all that, but it really wasn't good for my health, honestly. I need the chiropractor. I was suffering a lot on my hips and my back, so anyway, I hope you guys have been well and that you've still been dealing with all the situations that are still occurring and all the horrible stuff that has just really been surrounding our lives. It really feels like an emperor year. It's weird. So, I don't know where I was going with all of this, guys. I really don't. But let's just move on, shall we? I have a lot of things to share with you. First and foremost, the summer romance cal has really been kicking it. There's been people who finished their projects already. Emma, I'm looking at you. Emma did a lovely top because you guys know I'm all about the crochet garments. So she did a lovely top to represent Neo and Trinity. If you are new to this podcast, the Summer Romance Cal is a cal that I co-host with Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. Hi. And we've been doing it for 4 years now. And this year's theme is timeless romance. And what that means is that you're going to choose a couple that represents that theme to you. What couple do you visualize as being timeless and just represent them in a stitch, in a pattern, in yarn, whatever. Okay, so just head on over to the chatter thread, which I'm hosting. So just look up Crochet Cakes podcast on Ravelry. if you can, I know there's a lot of people that are not really happy with the changes Ravelry has implemented, basically that it's really, really bright. I usually have the brightness settings on all my electronics to be very low because my eyes get really, really tired. I have photophobia, so, you know, I try to not look at bright lights all that often. So since I keep the brightness really low on my computer, it didn't really bother me that much, and I do like the cute little icons they have now. But if you are not comfortable with using Ravelry as it is now, then let me know in the comments below, and what I'll do is that I'll do a blog post designated completely to the Summer Romance Cal, and then you can just go to my blog and comment there. So please let me know in the comments below if you are uncomfortable with how Ravelry has moved forward, and I will just open a blog. But I'll only do it if there is enough people, because, you know, it is more work, but I think it'll be fun. So maybe I should do it anyway. Please let me know in the comments below, because I love hearing from you. Otherwise, this is just one crazy lady talking to the camera, which, you know, it kind of is what it is. Even my dog judges me. But, right, Summer Romance Cal. So some exciting things to share with you other than gorgeous people who are working so many awesome projects is that we've received our first giveaway prize for the Summer Romance Cal, and it's a lovely pattern that was inspired by the first Summer Romance Cal we ever hosted, and it is a pattern by the lovely Lori, and I'll put her Ravelry handle somewhere here so you can go check out what the pattern is. It's a lovely shawl, and I think you're really gonna like it, and I'm really happy because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and put a little pack together. So it'll be this shawl pattern, and I'm just gonna dig through my stash or maybe source some yarn that the pattern calls for, so I can provide you with potentially a colorway that you like to go along with the pattern, and a project bag that I'm actually repurposing. So if you're new here, you probably don't know that about 2 years ago, I had an Etsy shop, and I used to sell project bags in this set Etsy shop. When I closed the project bag was on May, when I was going to get married, so May 2019. So it's only been a year since the Ravelry, since the Etsy shop has been free of sewing, because I still do have an Etsy shop. I just sell the PDF patterns on there. The patterns are free on my blog, but if you like them enough and you feel that you like the way they're written, then you can purchase them and have a PDF printable copy, which is ad-free, and you can of course source it at any time you want. So I had some of these project bags left over, and I basically unpicked the lining of a project bag to kind of fix it how I want it to look now, and I'm going to be including that in the giveaway. And it's about a medium-sized bag, so a shawl, a two-skein shawl would definitely fit there and be very, very comfortable. So those are news for the Summer Romance Cal. Other news, if you noticed on Instagram, I shared a story about a yarn store in Brooklyn, New York that is owned by a Black woman, and she needed $17,000 to be able to keep her store open, to implement the changes that she needs to have in order to actually open once, you know, things start easing in New York. I don't know how well they've eased or if they stopped. I know Texas has stopped opening because of what's happened here in Florida. Anyway, if any of you shared, liked, or donated money, thank you for that. It wasn't my initiative. I just participated in it, for lack of a better word, and it's just a way for us to help other crafty people in the community. And please remember that helping, it doesn't always mean giving money. In my case, helping would be visiting my blog. It's free, and I still at some point I'm hoping to actually get some money out of it. Even if I don't, I'll just have to get a real job outside and keep doing my blogging thing on the side, because I really do like sharing patterns with you. But helping crafters, helping small businesses doesn't always mean purchasing from them. It honestly means participating in their conversations and sharing the stuff that they're doing, and just liking, subscribing, all those small things that sometimes you might take for granted, but they really do help. So thank you for that. And oh my God, so many things have happened in the past 2 weeks that I'm just like, I don't even know what I wanted to say. I think what I'm gonna have to start doing is at the end of every day, do a little recording of what happened that I wanted to share with you guys. And maybe if I structure myself that way, it will work. Yes. So I've shared some admin news, and I've shared the giveaway that is, you know, the prize that it's going to be part of the Summer Romance Cal for the chatter thread. And I've shared the actions I'm going to be taking for the shatter thread, and I'll be sharing with you the couple in just a little ways forward. Because first of all, before I move on to finished objects, which I have two, one sewing and one is crochet, I just wanted to share that if you have been waiting for the Shieldmaiden pattern Spanish version, I am going to publish it on the 1st of July. It's already scheduled to go up and running. And this is for my Spanish speaking bilingual buddies out there that are still patiently waiting for me to put out a podcast in Spanish, which I actually feel kind of the need to do. So we'll see. So this is the Shieldmaiden pattern. It is a simple 2-panel shirt, top, whatever you want to call it, and the back goes all the way up, and the front is a V-neck. It is seamed on the sides because, like I said, it's 2 panels, and then you just attach some yarn to crochet the sleeves. It's very simple, and it works up really fast because I worked it up in Burnout Maker Home Deck, which I think I've gushed about a lot. I use it in all my tutorials, and I've done 2 patterns with it. I just love the tubular knit fabric of the yarn, and it shows up crochet stitches beautifully, and it holds up really well as well. So just wanted to put that out there. And I also did a stitch tutorial for the stitch pattern that I used for the bottom. So if you're interested, head on over to the blog. I'll link both of these down below. And now, if you've tuned into the previous 2 podcasts, you will realize that I am wearing something that I was crocheting. And it is my 60s shift dress. Yes, guys, I finished it. I couldn't be happier. It's so lovely, and it's so comfortable to wear. I cannot recommend Lion Brand Collection Cotton Bamboo yarn enough. The stitches are gorgeous. Gorgeous. The stitches look so gorgeous, and the feel of it, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of heavy because I've got 6 skeins of yarn on me. So that's about 600 grams of yarn. It's kind of heavy, but it's also so much fun to wear. And this is actually the first time I'm wearing it since I finished it, because I was trying to keep it nice and pristine. And I'm going to show you a video here of what it looks like when I wear it, because I don't want to do the awkward stand-up look at me thing, especially because the most interesting features of this dress are at the bottom, and it's got a bobble stitch band that really doesn't come up even if I stand up. And the other interesting feature is, zoom me in please, camera, zoom me in, is the collar. I did a crab stitch border on the collar, or neckline. Yeah, neckline. And I cannot express how happy I am with how this dress turned out. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. And I hope you guys like it too from what you see here. But as I said, the most interesting features of the dress are the bubble band border. And I decided to crochet it in 2 panels, bottom up, because I was trying to honor the design styles of the 60s. And in the 60s, crochet was mostly done in pieces and then seamed together. So that's also what I went for. And I also wanted the high neckline and kind of just the tight silhouette. Now, the way I wrote this pattern up, because I already wrote the pattern, I tend to write it once in my notebook. I like pencils and notebooks. And then I type it up into the computer, and then I wait a couple of days or weeks, and then I reread it to make sure I can go through some basic tech editing, make sure the verb tenses are correct, all that jazz. Then I do pictures, put it all together, edit, and publish it. So this dress is scheduled to be published in August. That's when I'm thinking that it'll be a great time to publish it. But honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to see. Well, you're seeing the dress now, but the pattern. So the way I wrote the pattern up, it includes stitch counts, yes, but it also includes measurements because I want you to be able to adapt this dress to your style. So maybe a tight shift dress from the 60s is not your style, but you like the bottom band. So simply choose a bigger size, don't do the decreases, and you'll get a kind of t-shirt tunic effect, you know? So I thought that would be really fun as well. And that's how I wanted to write the pattern up. I wanted to give you options of how I would alter the pattern if I wanted a different look, because nothing is written in stone, okay? Make this your own, have fun with it, because I certainly had fun with it. Okay, so that's my first finished object. Oh, and I'm also wearing it with a Minding Muse Crafts original necklace. I think this is chalk, magnesite, chalk turquoise. There's too much info up here for me to remember everything. I'm sorry, guys. But I did remember to wear lipstick this time, and I'm wearing earrings. So we're doing better than the previous two podcasts in which I actually forgot that. So, moving on to my other finished object, and it's a sewing one, guys. It's a sewing one, okay? So if you follow Sandra of Cherry Heart, you'll know that she's made some bags for the Dodgy Bag Mal, which ran and already ended, but it was co-hosted by Ali from Starry Guys, Ali and Claudia of Crochet Luna. And she made this gorgeous project bag. I'm calling it a bucket project bag because it's really big and it's kind of like a basket, and it just stands on its own, and it's just gorgeous. Check out her Instagram or her podcast if you want to see what I'm talking about. But I keep asking her for a pattern, but I know she's super busy, and I didn't want to keep bugging Sandra for a pattern of her bucket bag or whatever she wants to call it. So I attempted to make my own. Obviously, this was just inspired by Sandra. It's in no way the same as hers because I don't know what she did. So yeah, I just went off of what I know from sewing, which is admittedly very little. So I'm just going to show it up. So this is the project bag, guys. I used some old denim jeans to make the bottom, and then I just made the top with some leftover Cath Kidston tea towel fabric, and this fabric that I had in my stash, which is blue and white stripes and just some rose flowers, which all looked very vintage, and it all reminded me of like a tea party. And in the top, it's got a couple of tabs that I used denim and the fabric I used for the lining, which was, I think, a cotton polyester blend, and it was pretty stocky and sturdy. And inside I've got a project that I'll be sharing with you, but the things I want to tell you about this bag. So you'll see I've got 4 tabs, but 6 are sewn. The reason that happened was because if you're looking at the seams, this bag is supposed to be used like this. And so you would use the 6 tabs then to run your closing through. I don't like how the bag looks like that because I made a rookie mistake when I was boxing my bottom. I boxed it to be square, and I actually needed to box it as a rectangle so that I could get, you know, straight edges all around and not get this V going up on the outside. It bothered me, but not enough that I was going to rip out all the seams and make the bag again. No. But the other reason these tabs are on their lonesome is because I was thinking of doing a magnetic closure, so just sewing a magnet inside and then snapping it shut. I thought that would be a really good idea. And also it's facing the inside because when I was ironing it, I burnt the fabric. Yeah, so it's just gonna either be cut, or the other option is to use the denim tab and do a button right here. So this bag is not 100% finished, but I am, you know, pretty happy with it. It was an experience. Things I would like to do differently next time is use a harder interfacing. I used the hardest interfacing I had, but I still don't think it was enough. It was hard enough, and I definitely should have at least used a light interfacing for the denim at the bottom. So that is my finished sewing object. And that can move us on swiftly to works in progress, because the work in progress I have is here. I haven't actually worked on any of the projects I shared with you last time, which was my You Are Beautiful socks. I think I worked on them a little bit because I did my gusset, but that's it. I haven't actually worked on these. And I haven't worked on the Six Wives shawl. And I think those are the only projects I shared with you last time. So what I'm working on now is a new design, and it's been giving me a little bit of a headache, I'm not gonna lie, but it's still a fun headache. So I had basically a fourth of the, I'm designing a cardigan, kind of kimono style cardigan, and I had a fourth of it basically completed when I realized it wasn't nearly as wide enough as I wanted it to be, because I like my cardigans to be quite long, and so I would need it to be pretty wide to still be loose and flowy, which is what you associate with a kimono. So here we are. This is what I had, and if you can tell, it's in the same stitch pattern as the Shieldmaiden top, because why not? I love that stitch pattern, and I thought it would look beautiful as a summery kimono. And it looks like flowers, and kimonos usually were very honoring of nature, so I'm excited. So yeah, I was almost finished with one ball and a quarter of the way through what I wanted the full length to be, but it's not wide enough. Now I didn't rip it back because I wanted to compare it to the piece I started again, because I did start again yesterday, last night actually, when I realized it was just a no-go. But I wanted to compare it, and I also wanted to show you what potentially a part of it is going to look like before I rip back. And now that I think about it, I should have really kept it so that I could just rip back as I was working. Anyway, so what I have now is a partially completed first row. First pattern repeat, not row, sorry. And that's what I have. And I started this one in a 4.5, but using the same stitch count as the one I used here. This one was in a 4mm hook. So since I'm making each stitch, I'm adding to each stitch. I was kind of hoping it would equal out, and so far, so good. We'll know when the full object is finished, right? So it's living in, I'm calling it my Sandra bag, my cherry heart bag. That's where it's living. And that's one of the works in progress. I actually have another one which you will be very surprised because it's knitting. Yes, it is. It's knitting. And it's also my representation of the couple I chose for the summer romance cowl. So this is living in one of my favorite bags. This was kind of an experiment, and you know, it's not perfect because the handles move in it which way and that, but it's a gorgeous bag. It's very open, so I don't know, I just really like this bag. And it's green, of course. So, living in here is my representation of Catherine Morland and Mr. Tilney. If you have no idea who I'm talking about, they are the protagonists of Northanger Abbey, which is a novel, also a movie. The novel is by Jane Austen. The movie is called Northanger Abbey, and it's based on the novel. What can I say? But I really love Northanger Abbey. It's one of my favorite Jane Austen novels. I may even like it better than Pride and Prejudice. I'm not sure. I have to sit down and read both of them again and get back to you. And of course, watch every single rendition of both movies. Anyway, so Catherine Morland is she's 17. She's in the cusp of womanhood, you know. She's got her head in the clouds. She's very childish, but she wants to be older because she's the second oldest child. So, you know, she's used to this responsibility, but at the same time, she always wants to escape reality. And Mr. Tilney is a second son, so he's not set to inherit, obviously, and he is a parish priest, I think. And he's very down to earth, and he gives Catherine a lot of advice, not in a way that would hurt her, but just sort of in a very sarcastic, I do not know how to describe Mr. Tilney, but it's very nice. It's very cute. They grow together, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because they both benefit from each other's good and bads. So what did I choose to represent Catherine Morland and Mr. Tilney? So yes, I have the Northanger Abbey yarn. It is all caked up. I just haven't started the Treasure Island shawl that is going to represent them in crochet, because what I've chosen kind of represents them and me in knitting. And what I've chosen, because why am I not sharing it with you, is the As If tee. You guys will remember I talked about this last time, and I talked about potentially wanting to cast one on, but being too afraid to do so. Well, I was decided to follow Allie's advice and just go with it. So that's what I did. I went with it. And first up, I'm going to share the yarns with you because I've chosen yarns that are very different to what is recommended in the pattern, because she uses wool, but Florida, boiling hot, so no wool, no. So what I chose is yarn I had in my stash. It's Bernat Softy Baby Cotton in the colorway Granny Smith. So it's just a gorgeous bright chartreuse green, which I know doesn't represent Mr. Tilney, obviously, because earth tones, but here's my logic. Oh, and I should mention this yarn is DK weight, and it is a cotton acrylic blend. You have beautiful stitch definition. I've already made one crochet top with this yarn, so now you can see how it looks like in knitting. And I paired it with the mohair because this top uses a combination of worsted weight yarn and lace weight yarn. So this was the colors I chose. The mohair I had in my stash. It's been in my stash since the second time I went to EYF, where I visited Liberty of London with my mom. It's such a gorgeous, gorgeous store, but a lot of the stuff there was way out of my budget. But I did purchase a 25 gram Ovidio skein ball of Kid Silk mohair by Rowan in the color, I have no idea, but it's basically a blue purple lavender, which I thought looked really, really nice with this bright, bright green. Okay, so now that I've talked yarn, let's talk issues. Well, obviously, I was using a DK weight yarn, not the worsted weight yarn recommended for the pattern, and I thought the top was just a bit too cropped and a bit too wide for my style. So I did a gauge swatch just to see how far off the mark I was going to be. And I wasn't. I actually got the gauge suggested in the pattern with a 4mm knitting needle and my DK weight yarn. So it just goes to show you how loosely I knit, which I kind of knew already because of the way my socks have been fitting me lately. So that was the first thing. And in the pattern, you're supposed to use 2 needle sizes, one for the ribbing, one for the body. So the 4mm knitting needle is for the ribbing, and the 4.5mm needle is for the body of the top. Seeing as how I got gauge with the 4mm needle, I decided to use that for my body and then use the 3.75mm needle for the ribbing. And my shirt is just as wide as it said in the pattern. So there's that. But anyway, this is what it's looking like. This gorgeous, oh, I love it. I love it. I decided to go for the simplified intarsia, even though my colors are completely different. Listen, I was not going to handle 5 balls of yarn to do a proper intarsia because this was the first time I ever did intarsia, number 1. Number 2, all those balls of yarn were just confusing to me. And number 3, I decided, let's be smart, and instead of, because obviously you're not going to carry the Aran weight yarn because then you would see through this V, which is not the point. The point is to have a see-through top at the top of the top. So I was like, let's carry the lace weight. Now, that was just a horrible, horrible idea. I didn't rip it back so that I would have done the simplified intarsia from the very beginning. So I have a really long float that I hope doesn't catch on anything. And yeah, the other issue I had was that when you are going to cast off, you cast off shoulders and then you leave your neck stitches because those are the stitches you're going to pick up to do your neckline. Yes, I'm making sense. I didn't understand how I was supposed to cast off. I still have 1 stitch here that I'm going to have on this needle and then skip all these stitches and carry on over here. That didn't make sense to me. If you are a knitter, please explain that to me. I don't get it. I still have a stitch here, so it would be just this weird thing of going in a... I didn't get it, so I cast off the stitches and I knit the rest and then I cast off the rest. That's what I did. That's what I chose to do. I'm aware my neckline will be 1 row higher, but it worked for me. It was less complicated, so yay. Okay, other changes I did to this top. I added about 1 inch of knitting because in my mind that was going to be way enough to have a longer shirt. It's not. It's really not. 1 inch of knitting is nothing. So anyway, I did add 1 inch of knitting right after I finished before I started for the breast shaping. And now I'm currently doing the back, which I'm almost finished doing. And then I'll be able to cast off those stitches, pick up my neckline, and then do my sleeves. Oh. Did I mention that I'm just gonna join using single crochets? Because that's what I'm gonna do. Yes. I'm gonna avoid doing mattress stitch on mohair because it just seems like a bad idea all around, honestly. I'm using, as I said, 4mm needles, and these are my Knit Picks Majestics. I love these needles. They have been so beautiful to work with, both the cotton and the mohair. It's just, I absolutely love it. And you know, instead of putting my stitches on spare yarn, I thought I'm gonna put them on my 4mm hat needle because I'm gonna be working in the round, right? But I did also purchase these stitch holders from Clover. I think it was $4 on Amazon. I got the 16-inch one because I figured when would I need more than that? but correct me if I'm wrong below. I'm not really much of a knitter, okay? I knit, I'm an occasional knitter. I'm a flitter, okay? All right, so that is it for projects I've been working on. I really haven't been working on anything else. I've been working on this dress, which I finished. Did I mention I love it? I love it. I've been working on that design, which I actually just started this week, and then the As If tee. Those are the projects I've been working on. But I have acquired some things. I went to, let's start from the beginning. I was watching a Vine vlog about sewing an Edwardian skirt. And then I was watching a Vine podcast, and she mentioned cross stitch. I've never been tempted to cross stitch, but the pattern she mentioned is from the Witchy Stitcher. I'll link it down below. And it's a candle, it's lit, and it says on the banner, it's lit. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. Of course, the candle is meant to represent Hocus Pocus, so that was even cooler. Yay. So I made the purchase of that pattern on Etsy. As I said, the link will be down below. The link for everything will be down below, guys. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Yeah. And I bought all the yarns that she says in the pattern. Not the yarns, the floss, the embroidery floss. I just DMC colors. And then I've got my... Whoa. Excuse me. I had to sneeze. Then I have my cross-stitch needle because I didn't know it was supposed to be different from an embroidery needle, but it is. It's tapestry. So I got that. And then, of course, I got the Ada 14 count. So at some point, when I feel brave enough, I will start up that cross stitch. I have been watching a lot of cross stitch videos, trying to find out what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it, all that stuff. The other thing that happened is, as I said, the Edwardian skirt. Hers looked amazing. And I know she has a lot of mistakes because she walks you through all the mistakes she did in the vlog, but the final item just looked so gorgeous. And with all the crop tops I've been crocheting lately, I needed a high waist skirt. So Joann's, in their infinite wisdom, sent me an email stating that they had 70% off apparel fabrics. I went 100% linen for $8 a yard instead of $25. 3 of those, please. And then I was a dum-dum. I was dumb. I didn't click the details on the Vine vlog where she talks about the Edwardian skirt, and she links fabric she used and the pattern she used. I thought she had drafted the pattern from a Victorian how to sew book because that's what Bernadette Banner did. So that's what I thought. No, I was wrong. Anyway, all this to say, I ended up hunting down a buttered pattern on Etsy that was published in 1993, and it's meant to be an Edwardian skirt. So I'm waiting for that to come in, which I really thought was going to come in this weekend and I would have at least cut out pieces to share with you, but no, it hasn't come in. So your crochet cakes, I don't want to deal with Garment Girl, just when I need to sew this garment. Because, of course, why wouldn't you want to sew an Edwardian walking skirt? I don't know how I get myself into these messes. But anyway, I didn't finish telling you my Michaels experience. So I purchased all the cross-stitch thingies at Michaels, and the day I happened to walk in there, they had super sales on things. So I got yarn. Not a lot, actually. I was super restrained. I just got these 2 balls of Patton's Croy sock because they were $3 each instead of $6 each or something like that. And I just thought the colors were kind of very manly, Christmassy colors. So someone in my family will be getting this. And then I got 3 balls of this Lion Brand Wool Ease Thick and Quick in their 12-ounce skeins. But can we look at the price? Yeah. $2.97. So I got 3 because I have some bulky Patons wool yarn that I want to make a blanket with, and I'm going to just be, you know, working with that color and this color together to create kind of like a checkered blanket, and I'm very excited about that. That I'm pretty sure will be for October because the colors are very autumnal. But I think that is all I have to share with you guys. Yeah. I mentioned my sewing. Oh, no. I have something else to share with you guys. If you have purchased issue 126 of Inside Crochet, it's a lovely issue, number 1. So many summer garments to make. That's the first thing. But number 2, I'm in it. I am in issue 126 of Inside Crochet, not because I submitted a design. I'm still not brave enough to do that, but because they wanted to talk a bit about my podcast, and I appear with some greats. I am there with Claudia of Crochet Luna. I'm there with Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. I am there with Faye of Crochet Circle Podcast. I am there with Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. I'm there with Rosina of Scenes and Rogers. I am there with the Stout Stitch, who is Zach Stout. I am there with Allison and Vivian from KCACY, and I'm there with Deanne of Addie Day, and I think her name is the Canadian Crafter. I think those are all of us that appear on that page, and yeah, I think that's it. So it's a pretty nice roundup of podcasts, and I was just very, very happy that they approached me to work with me for this. This is the second time I appear in a magazine, so it's really thrilling. The first magazine I appeared was the Crochet Now magazine, and the first design I ever submitted was to Crochet Zine. So hi! I guess I've now been in 3 magazines, which is very, very, very exciting. I am so thankful to each and every one of you that watch my podcast, that comment, that subscribe, that like, that follow me on Instagram, that we're Insta friends, because that wouldn't have been possible without you guys. You know, you guys support my crafting addiction by all your lovely comments, so please keep them coming. Oh, and constructive criticism, of course, is always welcome. Constructive criticism, because that dislike button on YouTube is not constructive criticism. Anyway, guys, I am going to leave you here because I think I've chatted for an obscene amount of time. So it is time to bid you adieu, and I shall see you in a fortnight. Means in 2 weeks. I shall see you guys in 2 weeks with hopefully more crafty things to share with you. I'll hopefully have finished the As If tea, and I will have I don't know what I'm going to have to share with you in 2 weeks time, but hopefully it'll be fun. And thank you so much for joining with me. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me, and check out my blog. All the links will be down below. Bye!